looking going live. So we are now technically live. They should be able to hear us. And any second now, boom, we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome, one and all, to the Geek Battle show here on the Extreme Improv Extremed YouTube channel and also on the Geek Battle channel. So do go over to www.youtube.com/@Geek Battle and smash that subscribe button. That would be absolutely spectacular. Now, on the show tonight, we have a lot of stuff to respond to, a lot of things to react to, and a lot of geeky stuff to get through. Now, we are going to meet our performers, and we're going to start off with our facts round. In our introductions, we will give some interesting geek facts, as we will quest to be this week's Geek of the Week. But we're probably going to spend a lot of this week talking about James Gunn and DCU. Now, on the show tonight, Dave, say hello to the people, and do you have a geek factoid for us?
Hello to the people. I am Dave MC, and I am in Paris, France, and I do have a geek fact, English, about Project I-71A. Or in Star Wars terms, it is called the Blackwing virus, the zombie virus of Star Wars universe. I think I've cut. Am I still there?
Yeah, you're still there.
Oh, still there. So there's the zombie virus within the Star Wars universe. Because Lucasfilm, get on this. We've done Marvel zombies. Let's do Stormtrooper zombies. Make it so.
Oh my gosh. So wait, are they actually doing this?
No, they're not. I wish they would.
Like everything with zombies, like I don't know what my feelings are on that.
Well,
I'm going to give you a bonus point. Not because you deserve it, but because because you know, zombies need a little bit of, you know, kindness shown to them here and there.
Think about Stormtroopers, zombies. It's already been done.
Yeah, true. Okay, Tim, say hello to the people and give us a random geek factoid if you have one.
Hey there, this is Tim from Providence, Rhode Island, coming at you with a geek fact about even though I spent the last 2 or 3 days watching the Clone Wars, the big one I have is that heavy metals such as bronze or copper have something called the oligodynamic effect, which it's a biocidal, which means it's makes it an unhospitable place for things like bacteria or some viral organisms to exist on that metal. So if you have a doorknob made from copper and you try and lick it to try and taste what kind of like germs are on it, there won't be any after a while because of the oligodynamic effect. Also, the unknown regions in the Star Wars is still going to be a very interesting place for Disney to pull a lot of different bad guys from. And I'm hoping that at some point they can bring back the extragalactic Yuuzhan Vong or some version of it, because that was always sort of alluded to in Grand Admiral Thrawn's strategy for trying to strengthen the Empire so that they can be strong enough to battle the extragalactic invaders.
Okay, I think there was a geek fact in there. I'm not sure I quite understood it, but I'm going to give you a point regardless.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Now, Marty, can you give us a geek factoid of which I may comprehend?
Sorry.
Yes. Well, Tim mentioned heavy metal, so I decided I would switch my geek fact to go along with his, but a different heavy metal. We're talking about the animated film Heavy Metal from the early 80s. Because it was a Canadian production, they used primarily cast members from SCTV for the voices. So in the movie, you will hear people like John Candy, Eugene Levy, Harold Ramis, Andrea Martin, I believe, and then some other semi-well-known Canadian actors as well. But a large number of the Canadian cast of SCTV did a bunch of the voices on that movie.
I was with you all the way up to you mentioned Canadian, and then I kind of trailed off. I'm going to give you a bonus point regardless. Now, we have a lot of things to respond to. Now, we can bring up, I can bring up and we can screen share some of the full announcement. We won't watch it because we realize that I actually have a plan of how I can get us to be able to show stuff on the screen without it triggering the copyright issue I had from Slam Jam a couple of weeks ago, but I can't say what it is yet, and I can't do it tonight, unfortunately. But we will try to react to some of what was announced. There's like James Gunn has said there's like 10 new DC projects. Are you all fully abreast of this news?
Yes.
Tim, you are not.
I'm not.
Do you know, or is it that you just haven't heard it, or do you just not care?
I just haven't heard it. I do care.
Okay, well this is exciting. So now we get to fully enjoy your reaction. So James Gunn put out like a video, and there's like I'm gonna have to bring up the list to be able to say all of what they are, but there are like 10 new like DC projects which will be like the next 10 years or some of the next 10 years of the DCU, which like is it the DC universe, or it's not DC, it should be DCCU to be cinematic universe, whatever it's called. But they announced a new Superman film, they announced a new Batman film, a new Wonder Woman film, I think, or something like it might be a TV show, right?
Yeah.
They announced, gosh, like loads of them. I'll bring them up. Like Dave, Marty, you heard this. I'm going to bring up the list. What were your initial reactions to this?
I'm going to get this out of the way first and just say the Aquaman movie, the stuff that they've already got in the works going out, I'm not interested at all. I'm more interested in the James Gunn stuff, like the Brave and the Bold with the Batman movie. I am looking forward to that one mostly, and finally getting
more interested in the James Gunn stuff. Where's Captain Dave when we need him?
No, right? only because. Yeah, I have my opinions on it. Otherwise, I'll rant for hours. Otherwise, but I like that they're bringing the Green Lanterns in finally, and hopefully, we won't get a repeat of the other Green Lantern movie, which
was not Ryan Reynolds' fault.
It's not. No, I won't blame Ryan Reynolds for it. I'm just saying that. Yeah.
But I can't even find the list. Oh yeah, here it is. List of 10 things.
But so Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say I am interested that they're bringing Booster Gold in. That they want to do a Booster Gold movie. I think was that a TV series?
That was a TV series.
Okay, yeah. I've got the list here. I'll go. Let's respond to it one by one. Let me use my world famous screen sharing so that I can show how cool I am with everyone back from 2020. Right. So screen share, and let's see what we've got here. So I don't want a Chrome tab. I want this window. Okay, great. And boom, there we see the Superman logo, but that's obviously Henry Cavill. Now, the first thing we have here, look at that. Even showing that clip, I'm probably going to get this demonetized. So the first thing we have is called Creature Commandos, and it's an animated TV show already in production based on the comic property of the same name. I've never heard of this. It says here it's got Weasel from Suicide Squad. What a surprise that James Gunn would do a Suicide Squad spin-off straight away. And Rick Flag Sr. Have any of you heard of Creature Commandos?
Yeah, I've heard of Creature Comforts, but not Commandos.
Okay, Marty, tell us, what is Creature Commandos?
It's just it's like a platoon of monsters who fight. You know, I mean, I think it started as a war comic, but I think it has expanded out into the DC universe in general. Like you've got I don't know if I can't remember if they're called what they are, but it's basically just iterations of the Universal monsters. There's a Frankenstein.
So, yeah, here they are. They're fighting the Nazis. Apparently, they just look like the Suicide Squad again. How is this not the Suicide Squad?
Well, no, it's monsters. It's a Frankenstein. It's a creature from the Black Lagoon. There's a There's a vampire.
Yeah, I was going to say because I saw in the video that Gunn put out that there was like the Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah,
because of the hair. Like, really?
It's their version of the Universal monsters.
Okay, well that might be good. I have my doubts, but it might be good.
I have my doubts too. But
yeah, but apparently that's an animated series, so it kind of doesn't count, I guess. Next up, we have Waller. Now, this I was excited to hear about for specific reasons. It says here, Viola Davis will reprise her role as Amanda Waller in a TV series focused on her character. It will fall in between the first and second seasons of Peacemaker, with the second season of Peacemaker delayed. Oh, hang on, I should have brought this up on screen. But like, the reason I'm excited about this is it means, look, there is still hope for the Snyderverse, because she appeared in Suicide Squad and The Suicide Squad, and maybe even and in Peacemaker, and in fact in Black Adam. So if she's still there, then just bring back Dwayne, bring back Cavill, bring back Batfleck, and just give us what we want. You know, there is still hope. This isn't a complete reboot just for the fact that she's still the same character.
I like the idea of like exploring Amanda Waller's career and like her work, because she kind of has to make difficult decisions based on a lot of things, and balancing out the power of, you know, individual superheroes who are not affiliated with the government. It's like you know, in sort of when I see the dealings on the animated series about Amanda Waller and Batman, how there's sort of the rivalry, but also the cooperation in different times. Like this sounds enjoyable to me.
Is she?
Go on.
Do you think she's like the Nick Fury of DC?
Well, she is kind of, but she's sort of like more villainous than that, because she's the one that put together the Suicide Squad, and it's like, we're going to blow up your brains.
Yeah, it's more like devious.
Like Nick Fury was never like, join us, Cap, or we'll kill you.
Yeah.
Okay, how weird would it be if Capelthef just joined right now?
I didn't mean join us, Cap. I didn't mean that, Cap. I meant Captain America. Yeah, no, this isn't. No, hang on, for clarity, I'm not saying to Capelthef, join us, Cap, or we'll kill you. I meant Captain America. Oh gosh. Okay, so you go on, Marty.
Yeah, I don't care about this either way.
Well, like, to be honest, it doesn't like this. I'm just on what website I'm on, Dark Horizons. This probably doesn't give all of the info that they did on the announcement thing, because it literally doesn't say anything. It just says it's in between the Peacemaker season 1 and 2. That's what a weird thing to say, actually. It says it will fall between the first and second season of Peacemaker. There's only been one season. So it's like saying, oh, there's going to be the Book of Boba Fett. It's going to fall between the second and third seasons of The Mandalorian. It's like, well, there'd only been 2, so it just takes place after.
Well, it's like, you know, when Captain Marvel came out, you know, it took place way back.
No, but it took place way back. Or like when Black Widow came out, they had to tell us it takes place between Captain America Civil War and the Avengers Infinity War. Those two things existed. It'd be like there's the Last of Us series now, and they're like, oh, next year we're going to release the Last of Us series 2 or season 2. It takes place between seasons 1 and 3. It's like, well, no shit, right? Well, anyway, I digress. Next up, now we're getting onto the serious stuff, and James Gunn even said this is where the new DCU really starts to cook. We have Superman Legacy, and whoever Saffron is, the partner of James Gunn, says this is really the start of the DCU, and it's currently being penned by James Gunn. It's not an origin story. It focuses on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. He is kindness in a world that thinks his kindness is old-fashioned. Sounds riveting. Look at that. He's going to be fighting Brainiac and Darkseid. Oh, no, he's going to tell us about his heritage and his kindness.
Well all I know is if they don't use somebody other than the villains they've used before, I'm so sick of Lex Luthor. Let's put Lex Luthor away for a while, and let's bring in some of the other villains.
Like General Zod.
No. No, let's put Zod away too. Come on.
I'd say put Mixapidalic in it. Like maybe have someone like Mixapidalic in a Superman movie.
No.
Not even him?
Because they'll cast Patton Oswalt, and I'm tired of him getting cast and everything.
Wow. So I enjoy it. I like the, something that Henry Cavill brought up when he was acting as Superman was that he it's not that Superman has superpowers, it's that he is trying to be the good neighbor. And like when we look at Superman, we think of like that person that's doesn't exactly fit in, but has a lot of strength and still tries to do their best to make a good impact on the world. So I kind of like this take because, 2006's Superman Returns was a disappointment to me. Man of Steel was a disappointment because of the collateral damage that just existed. Like in Aquaman, at least you have Aquaman when he's fighting Black Mantis. He's like trying like, oh, get out of here, guys, before that thing falls on you. Superman's just like, yeah, I'm going to fly through this building and punch Zod in the face. I would like to see a version of Superman that talks about his values. Because I think that's what we really connect with, even though we connect the values with the act of like, oh, I can save things, meh.
I know what you mean.
Nemesis is here.
Yeah, the Gastro Nemesis. I'm not sure if Tim knows that reference. Jimmy Mack.
I don't.
Okay, so this is a weird story. I'll say it for the audience watching so they can be up to date with this. There was a show where Hannah McGowan, who won the Extreme Improv World Championship last year, she gave a suggestion when she was at work, something about gastro something or other. She was at a hospital. She said something gastro related. And gastroenteritis or something like this. And I read it as Gastro Nemesis.
Oh, yeah.
And so Jimmy Mack then decided to play it as a character where he's like, I'm the Gastro Nemesis. And literally it comes up every second week on the show that this old reference that no one gets. It's the supervillain of Extreme Improv, the Gastro Nemesis.
Oh, yeah. The one who
There we
takes the garlic. You eat
A
the garlic.
supervillain, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, what was I going to say? I completely forgotten. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we already have a version of Superman that's like kind and we know about his values. He's called Christopher Reeve.
I got to see those movies.
You've not seen those films?
What?
He's joking. He's joking.
No, I'm not joking. I've barely seen the first one. I haven't seen the first Superman, Quest for Peace.
Oh, my God. Tim, that is mind-blowing. Right.
Should I?
Yes. Yes.
You can skip Quest. You can skip Quest for Peace.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah.
I will die on the hill, though, that Superman 3 is a brilliant film.
I need to watch
Now
it.
I want to see what this hill looks like that you're ready to die on.
It's got good stuff in it. I'll say that.
It's brilliant. Like, the main character is Richard Pryor doing Richard Pryor stuff. It's like people complain, and like they're so unfair. The complaints are that Richard Pryor is in it more than Superman or Clark Kent, but that's because they separate Superman and Clark Kent into different entities. Like, it doesn't have more Richard Pryor than Superman / Clark Kent because it's the same person. But it's great. Now, what else have we got? Let's respond to something else. So yeah, I'm not convinced.
Well,
if
let me
they
just
were
say,
like,
people probably think I'm being a curmudgeon, but if he pulls off what he says he can do, I'm all in for it. I just tired of them reusing the same villains over and over and over, and I would like to see them. There is a vast array of other villains out there to use. Let them use those.
Such as?
Well, Brainiac. They haven't used Brainiac.
I would love to see Brainiac.
I'd only like to see Brainiac if they get Nicolas Cage to play Superman. And so you can bring on a giant mechanical spider to fight him.
A giant.
And the only way to beat him is to wear a bear suit.
Yeah. Come on. Like, do you not know this story? When they were going to make Superman in the 1990s in Burton with Nicolas Cage playing Superman.
Yeah. Oh, was that Kevin Smith's version?
Yeah, they had Kevin Smith write it. And the guy who was like commissioning him to write it said that Superman had to fight, I think in the film, a polar bear, and well, maybe it wasn't a polar bear, and something like that, and he had to fight a giant mechanical spider. That film didn't get made, but then the same guy greenlit Wild Wild West, where the main villain ends up riding around in a giant mechanical spider. It's brilliant.
So this guy just had a boner for a giant spider.
Yeah, a giant mechanical spider. It's quite different.
Jeez.
I don't get it. I don't sometimes, but you know what? I've got bad ideas too. So you know what? I get it.
Yeah. Okay. So with that, so for me though, right, this whole controversy would be simple If they just made Justice League Part 2, where it had Henry Cavill and Batfleck and Wonder Woman and all that, they did that, it finished off their story, then the audience would be like, and now we get a reboot.
Yeah.
But they will never let it go. They will never let it go. They're going to want all of those guys back. And when they announce that the film is called Superman Legacy, which is a really boring title, you know, and it's going to show about Superman's kindness and that people think he's old-fashioned. It's like, well, why don't you say that he's going to be fighting Brainiac and he's going to be fighting, you know, General Zod or something? Just have him fight someone.
Well,
we
first
should create a new villain for Superman to fight called Dr. Woke.
Well, could be. You know. What would their powers be?
Like, it would just be some kid in the basement just on Twitter. Just like
that was already
Superman, you used the wrong pronouns, damn it.
Well, that was already literally the storyline of She-Hulk, though, wasn't it? It was still like the opposite to that. It was like the basement dwelling troll or whatever. I can't remember.
That's
now, okay, let's see what we've got next. We have Lanterns. Okay, replacing Greg Blah. I don't even know who that is. Right, I don't know about this. Blah, blah, blah. Dubbed as being a huge HBO quality TV event in this vein of True Detective. It's terrestrial base. It's got two of our favorite Green Lanterns, Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, starring in a True Detective type mystery, and plays a really big role in leading to the main story that we're telling across film and television. So obviously that they're going to have, it's going to hint at some big villain that they're going to have, some conspiracy, and we're going to uncover it in Lanterns.
I'd buy that.
Yeah, it might be good.
I'm just tired of TV right now, in general, because there's just so little of it that's any good. They stretch out the stories way too long, and it just, I don't know, it just from in my opinion, TV right now, I mean, with some exceptions, it's pretty boring.
But the thing that annoys me is like with these like comic book movies having like the comic book movies and then you got the TV series on top of it, is that if you don't watch the TV series, you're gonna have no clue what's going on in the film. Like with
is that true?
It's not true. It probably isn't. But just as an example, like you, as an
you
example,
back down from that pretty quick.
I'm just saying, as an example, that you got Kang introduced in Loki, right?
Yeah.
And now he's in Quantumania.
Yeah.
You haven't watched Loki. You're just going to, who the hell's this guy?
No, I think you'll be all right. Obviously, Quantumania isn't out yet, but I've seen a quote from, I forget the actor who's playing Kang. No? Like
Jonathan Majors.
Yeah, that's it, right.
But
I've seen this thing where he says he plays them as completely different characters.
Well, they are completely different characters.
But the point is, it's not going. So you don't need to have seen it. It's probably just going to be. That was like if you saw it, then you get a preview of there's going to be a variant of this guy in the future, but it's not a continuation of the character. So
I'm pretty sure Kang really knows how he has to introduce himself because there's so many versions of himself, and he's just like meeting new people all the time. So it's like, I'm Kang. This version
with the Green Lanterns thing, though, I think I understand why you said like our favorite Green Lanterns, and you've got the likes of Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan, but why not have Guy Gardner as one of the leads? Because then you have like, because you could have the serious arc in like with Hal, and then have Guy Gardner be that comedic balance.
But doesn't Hal have the comedic balance when compared to Jon Stewart? Because I feel like Jon Stewart is a much harder, more procedural Green Lantern, from my understanding of the animated series.
Yeah, Jon Stewart's way more serious than Hal.
How so?
I hate. Here's part of the thing I hate. I hate that they threw a reference to True Detective in there. Why say, I mean, it's like an elevator pitch. This is going to be superheroes mixed in with True Detective.
Do you know, Marty, I completely agree. Just because when I watched this video, and I don't know if I saw like a short or little condensed one where James Gunn was announcing it, it did have that whole vibe of, we don't really have a plan, but we're going to try to win you over by announcing 20 things at once. Because they were like, because it was, when you watch the video, it's like, oh yeah, so because obviously they've got a big problem that they've still got movies coming out, which they're effectively saying we're trashing before they come out. And they're like, oh yeah, so we're still going to have Aquaman 2, and that's going to be really important to the future. And Flash is going to reset everything in the DCU. It's like, why tell us the ending of the movie now? And then we're going to have Blue Beetle. And then he was literally like, and Shazam has always done his own thing. And it's like, so you're saying that doesn't count? Because here's an important detail I skipped over because it wasn't on this list. They've said that basically what they're doing is what Disney did with Star Wars, with this whole thing like we were literally talking about last week about the Star Wars legends, about things that came before and are no longer canonical to the current storyline. They said that there is going to be Joker, there is going to be Matt Reeves the Batman, and these are going to be Elseworlds tales. So these are going to be not canon to the rest of it. As if the general audience is going to see, well, is this an Elseworlds tale when it's coming out of the cinema? They won't understand that at all. But it's the way they're trying to excuse that some things are going to be part of this story and some things aren't. As if we haven't understood that Joker in the film The Joker was a separate story to Joker in the Suicide Squad. You know, we could do this already. They didn't need to do this.
Well, Elseworlds isn't just a movie thing. It's been used in DC Comics for years. And I have enjoyed a lot of the Elseworlds stories, so it makes sense that they would use it. But yeah, I feel like after this next Shazam movie, we're probably not going to see another Shazam movie.
I don't know why I dislike Shazam so much, but I didn't enjoy the first one almost at all. Everyone was like, "Oh, it's so funny, it's so good," and I thought it was just a bit dumb. Like, I wasn't that into it.
I think it was entertaining.
I enjoyed it.
I thought that Black Adam was entertaining but ridiculous. But I just found Shazam. I wasn't digging it.
So I'm looking forward to how they're pitching things because, and to be fair, if you have an idea of what's going on, it allows you to focus on the movie some more. I keep referring back to this video essay on YouTube about One Punch Man. And there's a specific part in the show where One Punch Man is opening up letters and fan mail with his mentee, the robot guy, and the robot guy's getting all this fan mail and stuff. And there's this concept of what's called dramatic irony. Like if you know what's going on in the story already, like the overall thing, it allows you to focus more on the details and like what the characters are going through. So like if we know that the Flash is going to reset everything, we get to focus more on his minute-to-minute decisions as opposed to the overall story, which allows us to sort of have to process less in a way and just to enjoy the story as it unfolds and look at the personal decisions. Like, oh, what would I do if I had super speed and, you know, some guy tripped me and said, ha ha, yep, loser. Things like that.
I know what I'd do.
Yeah, exactly. You already put yourself in that position where that's where you're enjoying the movie as opposed to like, wait, what's going to happen now? Did he finally reset it? You know, so I think it's not a bad idea that they're doing it this way, but I think, you know, it definitely opens it still up to interpretation who they get for writers, how it does look. Does it look like True Detective, or is it more like, you know, Sesame Street meets some weird blend of things, and it's just like, oh, this is not going to work this time. Like, you guys, time to hit the reset button. Let's hire Matt Reeves in 10 years to reset the whole thing again. Not
well,
the dark part.
Let's continue on because we may find that there's some more elevator pitches going on here.
Let's do it.
Next up, very quickly, we have The Authority.
Yes!
You know what that is? Okay, I don't have a clue what this is.
Oh, God.
I'm not familiar either.
Okay. All right. The Authority is like a post 9/11 hot take on superheroes. And I remember before I actually read The Authority, I read a summary or synopsis of good comic book movies or comic book stories, and it referred to The Authority as like this group of superheroes who have like they're super powered, and there's one guy who has the ability to he grabs his strength from cities, so like he can hear and like feel how a city is, but also has super strength associated with that. There's a Superman type hero too, but he's in a relationship with the Batman type, so they have like it. And there's one part where there's the Authority, which is the superhero group, like their Justice League, and they're fighting a government group of superheroes. And the government group, the Ant-Man or the Giant Man, he's like, what type of superheroes show up to a fight drunk? And then someone scrambles his brains by punching through it, and then that's the drunk superhero, and it says the dangerous kind. So I'm just like, I'm looking forward to this because it's such a growing up post 9/11 and seeing how the security apparatus was sort of criticized through this world of the Authority. I'm looking forward to what it is. It's almost like a little bit like they threw a little bit of Three Stooges flavor into Justice League, and I'm excited to see what their process is.
Okay. Yeah, have to research some more on that. But okay, next up we have.
They already did that as a cartoon back in the 80s.
Oh, they did a post 9/11 story back in the 80s.
No, the Stooges crossed with superheroes. It was called the Robonic Stooges.
Okay.
Seriously?
Yeah, look it up.
Oh my God! Thank you, Marty, for this. I'm gonna look
that up tonight.
I'm going down the rabbit hole. Woo!
It was either late 70s or early 80s. I can't remember. It's a I think it's a Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
It's amazing.
There it is. We have the Robonic Stooges.
Oh my God, that is amazing.
Wow. What is this? It's almost like Captain Planet. I get a feel from that guy on the left, the corporate stooge there.
Yeah.
That guy right there. Agent 000. Oh God.
They should make a movie of this, to be honest.
They might.
I hope so. Right. Okay. So let's come back because hang on. Where is this list again? So next up we have Paradise Lost. Gunn and Safran planned on building out the world of the Amazons with the TV series, which will take place on Themis. I can't remember Wonder Woman. What is with that? Oh, there was just a guy eating an ice cream on the side of the screen. I hate that I've got to give screen space to this advertising stuff now. Right, it says anyway. It's going to show the birth of Diana and follow the political intrigue of an all-female society. It's going to be Games of Thrones-ish. So there you go, elevator pitch once again.
Yep.
God help us.
Right, about the political intrigue between a society of all women. What's the origin of the Wait, hang on. The birth of Diana. I don't even know. How did Diana get born if there's no dudes?
She was created out of dirt.
Out of dirt?
Yeah, she's molded out of clay by Zeus.
Yeah.
But it says here that she was born.
Yeah, that's a loose term.
It's easier. It's an elevator pitch.
Yeah, it's an elevator pitch. Yeah, it's going to be Game of Thrones, but with Wonder Woman.
They're going to show Zeus. Zeus is going to be making her on the pottery wheel, and they're going to be playing "Oh My Love."
The birth of Diana sounds a lot faster than Zeus made her out of clay, so we're going to talk about the making of birth of Diana.
Diana, I made you out of clay.
Right, okay, then here. Now wait for it. Now things are like heating up on this because
ouch.
Next up, we have The Brave and the Bold, and it's a movie based on Grant Morrison's Batman run. This will introduce the DCU's Batman / Bruce Wayne and the Bat family, including Damian Wayne. Now, I'm just going to interject again. So once again, we've heard about Superman's kindness. Now we're going to hear about the Bat family, Damian Wayne. Tell us who he's fighting. I just want to see dudes in costumes with nipples or not, I don't mind, smashing their fists into something else and using cool gadgets. That's what I want. And look, Gunn dubs it as a strange father-stroke-son story, and it's separate from the Robert Pattinson Batman in the Matt Reeves films, which falls under the Elseworlds category outside this continuity. So I can't believe, like, to me, this has got things even more confusing. In 2019, Joker came out at the cinema, and in that there was a kid playing young Bruce Wayne. In 2022 or in 2020 or 2021, we got Zack Snyder's Justice League with Batfleck as Batman, and he will also be Batman in The Flash, which will also have Michael Keaton as Batman. And then we have Matt Reeves, the Batman, with Robert Pattinson as Batman. And by 2024, 2025, we will have The Brave and the Bold, which will introduce the fifth Batman.
Well, and when was
2019?
When was Gotham? When did Gotham end?
God knows. And also, like, did we still have Batman the Animated, whatever's going on, and Lego Batman going on? There's everyone has played Batman on screen except for me.
And there's a series on right now called Gotham Knights.
Oh, yes.
Gotham Knights. What is that?
Yeah. I don't know. It's got the dude from Supernatural he's playing Harvey Dent. Misha Collins, who played the angel on Supernatural, who's playing Harvey Dent. The only reason I know that is because they're filming it here in Atlanta.
Wow.
I thought you were talking about the game because I've been paying more.
Yeah, there's a game called Gotham Knights, isn't there?
No, supposedly there's a series. I have not seen it. Maybe they're still filming the first season. I'm not sure.
Are you sure it's not just someone streaming a video game and you're like, oh, they're making Batman next year?
According to Misha Collins, it's a thing.
Wow. Okay, so yeah, like, I don't know what to think of this because once again, as these pitches go, I think, like, I'm so underwhelmed by all of these pitches because if they were like, there's going to be Justice League and they're going to fight Darkseid and Steppenwolf and they're going to have to all come together and resurrect Superman, like, that's the pitch for that film. If you're like, General Zod is coming to Earth and he's going to try to destroy it and only Superman can save the day, it's like, yeah, this is going to be exciting. But when you're like, this is going to be a father-son story. No, I get, don't say Star Wars, right? This is going to be a father-son story. And it's going to be about Damian Wayne. It's like, you know, these don't sound exciting yet to me. Oh, I don't know. Right.
Well, isn't Damian Wayne, I've read a little bit of those comics, and isn't he like a total dick?
So he's kind of
I think you're thinking of Robin. He's
like a psychopath.
So because he was raised by the League of Assassins, he's got a slightly more serious demeanor than someone like Dick Grayson. And,
I see.
Yeah, so he's kind of a Batman. If he was a Batman, he would kill. He would kill people.
Is his mother Talia al Ghul?
Yeah, she's Talia.
Okay. I didn't
Can you
remember.
open up the description because they discuss Damian Wayne as a specific character.
Okay, let me see the rest.
Yeah.
Perhaps I've
here we go.
This is the introduction of the DCU Batman, Bruce Wayne, and also introducing our favorite Robin, Damian Wayne, who is a little son of a bitch, assassin murderer. Gunn said of the film. Okay, yeah. Fair enough. Fair play. Batman didn't know Damian existed for the first 8 to 10 years of his life, and Gunn describes this as a very strange father-stroke-son story about the duo. Okay, that's good. Like, we've got some assassin going in here, little son of a bitch, and all that.
Yeah, and that kind of gives it an interesting take, I guess, because father son again, it's family values, and they're trying to sell the values part first.
How are they going to release these? How are they going to release these alongside the Batman Part 2? It'll be like, in March, The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson.
I would guess.
In April, The Batman, starring Dave MC.
I would guess that somehow they're going to incorporate the DC Elseworlds logo on those Elseworlds movies.
I'm going to make a bold and brave prediction here, in fact. I think like 1 or 2 of these things will come out and they're going to reset again. I don't think this is all going to come out. I think at least Okay, as a minimum, there are 10 things announced here. I think at least 3 of them aren't coming out.
I think
At
Woke Man
least
might have
3.
something to say about that.
Who?
I would put money on
Woke
that
Man.
because remember what happened with Marvel when they were going to make an Inhumans movie and then they pulled it and then other things got pulled. Yeah, I
Have
agree.
they pulled that much?
Yeah, they've changed their plans. They were going to
Okay.
make an Inhumans movie and then they decided to make it a TV show and it sucked
Okay.
so
Right.
bad.
Well, anyway, then
Dumpster
next up we have Booster Gold. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's going to be the best thing ever, but I think it sounds rubbish. Right. It says,
I like it.
Saffron
I
says,
like it.
it's about, no, it might be great. Like, imagine, like, who's going to save me? Only Booster Gold can save me. I'm like, what is it? What is this? Right. It says, it's about a loser from the future who uses basic future technology to come back today and pretend to be. Actually, that sounds awesome. I'm not going to lie. I'm being a little bit negative just because I'm in that flow of things. But that does sound like an awesome concept.
I feel like Booster Gold's going to be like the superhero version of Peacemaker.
Oh, no, that's just ruined it for me.
There's a rumor going around that James Gunn wants Chris Pratt to play Booster Gold. And I'm like, please, God, no.
No.
There was a thing that I read this week that apparently Dave Bautista spoke to him about playing Bane, and they decided he's too old to play it.
Yeah, that is true.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, Dave Bautista himself said he's not going to be like the physical specimen he used to be. So, like, you know, eventually playing Bane doesn't feel like that, you know, like he needs someone younger.
There was such a simple solution to this. If he played Bane in Justice League 2 and they just wrapped up that story, they'd be like, great, I'll play it for one movie, we'll hand it over to someone else.
Yeah. I mean, could he take on the role of Darkseid? Because he's such a good actor.
Yeah, like maybe. Like, why not?
I'm sure there's somebody in the DC universe that he could jump in and play. It's not coming to mind right now.
Grundy.
He could be roided out Lex Luthor.
I would love to see him as any character because I just think he's a good actor. His work on Blade Runner 2049 was like just as that medic.
Oh, do you know they showed a picture of him in that movie next to a picture of Hugo Strange, who is a character from the Batman universe.
Yeah.
And it was almost identical.
Wow.
True. The glasses really added. I know it's such a silly thing, but the glasses really added.
I like Batista. I'm a wrestling fan. I've always liked Batista, and one of the things about him is he seems like he's like a decent guy. He seems like when James Gunn. Look, here's me ragging on James Gunn constantly. I really like the first 2 Guardians of the Galaxy films. It's the ironic thing with it. I just didn't like Suicide Squad. That's my issue with him. But when James Gunn got fired, Batista was like, if they're firing him, I'm walking. And he was the only one that stood up and just said, like, this sucks. You're firing a guy over a tweet.
Yeah.
You know, and good for him for doing so, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, and then next up, we have here Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. And it says here, based on Tom King's comic book series, the film will introduce a very different type of character. Gunn says, in our DCU, we see the difference between Superman, who was sent to Earth and raised by loving parents from the time he was an infant, versus Supergirl, who was raised on a rock chipped off of Krypton, and watched everyone around her die and killed in terrible ways for the first 14 years of her life. That sounds interesting.
I haven't read the series, but I'm going to look it up and see if I can find it so I can read it.
Yeah, I might have to do the same because I'm not a reader of Supergirl, so I'd have to look that up too.
I always remember, like, if you haven't seen the Superman movies from the 70s and 80s, you have to see the Supergirl movie from like the 1980s. I genuinely love that film.
There's a Supergirl movie too.
Oh my god! Yes. It is literally in the same continuity as like Christopher Reeve's Superman.
Again, over my head.
Is she just like a minute behind? So like everything happens like in Superman 2, that General Zod now defeated. She just turns up like, I'm here to they're gone.
I'm trying to think when they filmed it. It's probably definitely after Superman 2. Well, definitely after Superman 2 because they filmed them at the same time. But it might even be after Superman 3. And like Jimmy Olsen's in it from the Superman movies, and I just think that movie is awesome. Like it's a great film.
I've actually never seen the whole thing.
You've never seen the whole thing?
No.
Oh my god, it's so good.
I should watch it.
It's like one of these guilty pleasure sort of films.
I'm gonna check to see if this is on HBO Plus because I might have an agenda for the next couple days.
Oh yeah, like honest. So like, here's the thing: if you're gonna go watch like Christopher Reeve Superman 1, it's you need to watch Superman 1 to fully appreciate Superman 2. But like, it really gets going with Superman 2.
I went a couple of years ago. It was an anniversary. I don't remember which one. Went to see the first Superman movie on the big screen again.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was just so great. It holds up so well.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. Okay. And then watch Superman 3 because Richard Pryor's in it. And I literally won't give spoilers for what happens, but it's got one of the best things in any superhero film ever. Now,
I mean, a good comedian can play a supervillain very easily. So I would love to see Richard Pryor's take on what his supervillain is,
Okay, I didn't say he's a supervillain.
Oh.
This isn't a spoiler. So yeah, if you go in thinking he's going to be like the evil mastermind or something, he's not. He basically is in it playing. He's playing a Richard Pryor type. So yeah, but
I had a picture of
super important to the story.
I had a picture of like Robin Williams when he was that photographer. The
like 1 hour photo.
Yes.
Oh my god, that's a great film as well.
Yeah,
but no, I completely agree. He would have been awesome. Richard Pryor as like a villain like that would have been brilliant. That isn't what he plays in it. He plays kind of like an everyman who gets caught up in something. He's not a bad guy. He's not a good guy. He's just very Richard Pryor. Which is great. Okay.
Supergirl came out in 1984. I just looked it up.
There you go.
I was born then. It's
wow.
38-year-old movie. I've never. Oh my god, what am I missing?
I think I'm 37. I was born in 1985. Right. I have never not seen the Supergirl film, so that is the difference that our lives have taken, Tim. So
I feel very out of place here because I'm with a load of old guys. I'm the youngest here. I feel very.
How old are you? Where's Cap? Like he's like.
I'm 29.
29. Oh, that's not that bad.
But I'm the youngest here. I should say.
Well, Dave, I'm the oldest, so hey.
Yeah.
Okay. Last. 22.
Yeah.
Okay. Last on the list. It doesn't give that much info. It says Swamp Thing. The film investigates the dark origins of Swamp Thing and will reflect the tonal diversity of the new DC. It's being dubbed as a horror movie and the one that will close out this first chapter. So
didn't they already do that though with the series Swamp Thing?
I never saw it. I couldn't tell you a thing about it.
It got canceled after one season, so I imagine they're just writing that one off.
Okay, hang on, guys. There is something important I need to show you as to why I'm struggling with this whole announcement that they've got. Let's see if I can make it full screen here. So here with James Gunn. Look at him. He's about to get demonetized again, and he's rabbiting on. And then this is meant to get me excited for the Superman film. It's like that photo. I'm like, oh my god, I've got to see that movie.
Hi, I'm James Gunn. My hair's meant to look like a tooth, like a Q-tip.
Just Superman shitting on a cloud.
Well, exactly. It's Superman sat on the toilet.
He's got to take a dump somewhere.
Maybe he is farting the cloud.
Over Metropolis today, we have a cloud of brown rain.
Clouds don't actually exist. They're just Superman farts.
That's his fart is a giant cloud. That does make sense. That's like a Chuck Norris-esque thing. Like
I want to see him use that against a villain now.
Oh god. Well, like Superman had all those obscure powers, like when he first started out, and maybe that was what he just poops clouds.
Yeah, or he eats a bunch of asparagus and then pees on everybody.
Do you need precipitation? Because I shall use my flatulence in good dew.
Yes.
Oh,
And I
isn't
will
this
tell
like-
Up
you,
and away.
it will smell bad, but it will nourish your plants.
Okay, it's
Your
just
plants will
reset.
have plenty of nitrogen as well.
I'm coming, Lois.
Oh, that one was silent. Sorry.
Oh, that's a different thing, Dave.
What has
I'm
this show
coming,
become?
Lois.
Pardon?
Well, it's all fart
So
jokes.
what-
We're all just old dudes telling fart jokes. That's it. Sorry, Dave. You're an old dude right now, but
right,
I have
okay.
to get going before we start
Yeah,
really
no.
talking about flatulence.
Okay, well,
Good.
that's
Thank you for the announcement.
on that note, then, Tim.
Bye, guys. Thank you very much.
Oh, you got to go? Bye.
Yeah, I gotta head out.
Okay,
Bye,
Have a
Tim.
good one.
let's see if we can see it. Like, 'cause they show like here are the what are they called creature comforts? Did you say? So these are the creature
Squeaky
comforts.
Commandos.
Yeah.
Creature commandos.
That's that.
So yeah, like you say, there's like Frankenstein. There's a
See, that's
I don't know.
there's a gill man or gill woman type thing right there on the end where
Yeah.
the bubble.
there's the
Right.
Amanda Waller thing, I guess. Oh, she's in handcuffs. Superman shitting on a cloud. I guess that's the
That's lanterns.
lanterns.
That's the lanterns.
Don't know
That's
what this
the authority.
is. Is it?
Yeah.
To me, if someone said, "Oh yeah, that's The Boys season 4," I'd just believe it.
It sounds like that.
Oh wow, look at that! That's actually quite badass looking. Look at that. So Robin is a bad guy.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, he's kind of mellowed out now, but still, at the beginning, he was a little shit.
Okay, my worry about that is: have you guys seen Die Hard 5?
No,
Have you seen any of the Die Hards, Dave?
no.
Oh man, right. Okay, well, a tiny spoiler here. So obviously, like Die Hard 1 came out in like 1988, and Bruce Willis, like he's got a couple of children, and they're very small children. And by the time like they made Die Hard 2 a couple of years later, and Die Hard 3 in the mid-90s, and then like in 2010 they decided to make Die Hard 4, and a couple of years after they made Die Hard 5, and they'd got it in Die Hard 5. You'd never seen this character after the first one. That John McClane's son, Bruce Willis's son, is like a CIA agent, and he's like, "Oh, hi, John," and he's like, "Why don't you call me Dad?" And the whole film, he's just completely unlikable, and that's what I worry this will be.
Isn't it? I didn't see it, but who was he played by? Our favorite? Wasn't it our favorite?
Jai Courtney.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Jai Courtney.
I will not watch anything with him in it.
I tried watching Die Hard 5 a few weeks ago, and it's just like Jai Courtney ruins everything he's in. The only thing he didn't ruin was the first Suicide Squad film. And then when he was in the second one, they killed him before the credit sequence. And I was like, James Gunn.
Who was he in Suicide Squad?
Captain Boomerang.
That was
Like
him.
the Australian guy. He's like, "Oh, good, eh? I've got a boomerang. I like
Well,
to
here's
throw
the
it.
thing
Look,
about
here's a
I didn't see the
unicorn
first
toy."
Suicide Squad, but the second Suicide Squad, if they had made the movie about that first group of superheroes that they killed, I think it would have been a better movie.
Well, I agree too.
Yeah.
Like, and like also they had Harley Quinn separated from everyone for like most of the movie.
Exactly. That was completely useless. It
Yeah.
was dumb.
I spent
I
most of my
have
time on the
that
floor
again.
trying to pick up my popcorn because it fell over.
You what?
So when I went to watch Suicide Squad, I spent most of my time on the floor because some idiot walked in front of me and knocked my popcorn on the floor.
Wait,
So I missed like maybe
hang on a
20
second.
minutes 20 minutes of a movie.
What, you
wait,
trying to
you
pick up your
picked up the
popcorn?
popcorn to eat?
No, I put it back in the thing.
Wait, so hang on, then he got you twice because it's like, boom, aha, you don't have popcorn, and then you punished yourself for the next 20 minutes. Like, what's going on?
I was
Yeah.
I was being punished enough by making it go watch Suicide Squad.
Yeah, talk,
you know?
talk about picking up diseases off of a floor. Oh my god!
It was
Yeah.
either pick up shit or watch shit. There's no winning.
Oh my
my
god!
I was a very stupid idiot back then.
No, don't worry. These things happen. So, what do we think, guys? Like, what are we hopeful for the future of the DCU?
What after watching this? No.
Well, okay. Here's a couple of other interesting things. I don't know if I can find this one.
Well, I can also throw something out for us to talk about. That's it's a rumor, but it probably is like 99% true.
What is? Oh, what is?
That Jason Momoa is going to well, here's the thing. The rumor is that he's going to continue to play Aquaman, but he's also going to play Lobo. How is he going to play two characters?
They'll never share screen time together.
It'll be very obvious that it's the same actor, though.
But I heard that as well, and being a rumor, and there's no way we can confirm it yet.
Oh, I can confirm it just by knowing that it's going to happen.
Okay,
we just have Lobo come in and just beat the crap out of Amber Heard's Mira for a bit.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. They never should have cast him as Aquaman because he's very obviously the perfect choice for Lobo. But why keep him as Aquaman when they're rebooting everybody else? Just switch him over to Lobo and then pick somebody else for Aquaman.
As if that's not going to make things more confusing.
Well, they don't seem to care about that.
No.
Elseworlds.
Well, but here's an interesting follow-up story that's on the same site. It says Gunn gets honest about DC's years of chaos. So I've just glanced at this. Let's investigate a bit further.
Okay.
It says there was never any real power given to the people in charge, and so somebody could always go over their head and do whatever they wanted. We had the DCEU, which then became the Joss Whedon Justice League, but it also became the Snyderverse, which became this. We have Wonder Woman, and then we have Wonder Woman 2, which doesn't even match what happened in Wonder Woman 1. And then we have the Arrowverse, and even us coming in with the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. And what is it exactly? And then all of a sudden, Batmite's a real guy. I don't know what that means, right? So how can we take these things together and make them make sense and have them unified and have it in one real universe, one real world? Well, you can't, basically. He says, I think we got lucky with the next 4 movies, frankly, because we have Shazam, which leads us into The Flash. See, that's a spoiler in itself, right? He's just giving away spoilers, which reset The Flash, which resets everything, which then goes into Blue Beetle, which is totally disconnected. So again, even though it's a non-spoiler, it's still a spoiler. Look at that. That bloody Flash thing at the side there is going to get me...
Go away, Ezra Miller.
Right, anyway. He says he can totally be part of the DCU, so that means that Blue Beetle's okay, which goes into Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, which leads into Superman Legacy. So it tells you that Aquaman is staying on board. He says, but the one thing that we can promise is that everything from Superman forward, or actually you'll see in a second, from our first project forward, will be canon and will be connected. We're using some actors from the past. We're not using other actors from the past, but everything from that moment forward will be connected and consistent. So what did Wonder Woman do so wrong that they're like, right, we're keeping Aquaman and Ezra Miller, but we're getting rid of Gal Gadot? Like Batfleck, you didn't really want it anyway. But it's not like, oh, we're going to use Pattinson. It's like, this is going to be more confusing.
It's a mystery to me why they don't keep Gal.
I don't know.
It's not her fault that the second movie sucked. It's the director's fault.
Yeah, and the script, everything about it, you know.
I was just talking about this today to somebody actually about the Wonder Woman sequel. We were saying that I think the only reason they made a Wonder Woman 2 in the first place is because they thought, oh, if we slap Wonder Woman on this movie, everyone's going to go see it because they'll remember that the first movie was really good.
Yeah. No, I agree. But I think because they had a problem, and I do agree with what James Gunn has said here, that anyone that turned up and wanted to do something, they just said, oh yeah, you do that. And they didn't have any cohesion between what they were trying to say, what the ongoing story was. and they just made it worse and worse. But I don't think what they're doing now makes it any better. Because if you think that, okay, we've got Aquaman 2 coming out, we've got The Flash coming out, which they had already planned was going to kind of reset things to a degree and bring in the multiverse, which would explain any discrepancies that we ever have, or just said, well, there's a multiverse. So that's why there's Ben Affleck, and that's why there's Michael Keaton, and that can be why there's Robert Pattinson, and that can be why there's Joker, which is its own separate thing. But all they're and then Black Adam was going to have him fight Superman, and Superman and Man of Steel 2 would have happened, and maybe would have eventually got to Justice League 2, and things would have made sense. But now there's going to be yet another Batman. There's suddenly going to be a second Wonder Woman. We might have Aquaman is also Lobo. How does any of this get any less confusing? Because unless they say, here is everything is erased, there's no Amanda Waller, there's no Peacemaker, and I swear the only reason they're keeping any of this is because he made Peacemaker and he did the Suicide Squad. So it's still going to have the same Harley Quinn, except for there's a different Harley Quinn in Joker that's played by Lady Gaga. And it's just that if they just said, look, none of that worked, and we're just going to start, and it's going to be an origin story for Superman, followed by an origin story of Batman, an origin story of Wonder Woman, and this is Justice League Part 1, Justice League Part 2, Justice League Part 3, then you could say, well, that's a brand new story. But if this one is, well, it's still got Amanda Waller, and it still has Aquaman, and it's still going to have Shazam, and it's not going to have that Superman, but it will have a new Superman stood alongside the Aquaman that you saw the old Superman stood. It's not going to make any sense. They will get 2 films in. You know, the Snyder guys are going to hate watch, review bomb, and all that to whatever Superman legacy is. And then they're going to cancel this whole thing. And in about 3 years' time, people are going to get clips of me saying this and say how goddamn wrong I was. But still, I hope I'm wrong. They're going to be like, oh, look at this Snyderverse fan just going on about this.
I agree with you. I mean, they should have just wiped the slate completely clean. It makes no sense whatsoever to get rid of Henry Cavill and keep Ezra Miller. It makes no sense. Henry Cavill was a great Superman. He was just in a bad movie.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you, David.
Yes.
Do you have any theories as to what happened with The Rock and Henry Cavill and James Gunn?
Ooh, I only slightly. I think James Gunn is probably this is like partly James Gunn has to come in and he has to be in charge. It can't be, whereas The Rock is too powerful, because apparently The Rock could be like, I want Black Adam versus Superman. He didn't like Shazam, and he felt like, you know, he's The Rock, he's the wrestler, he wants the main event. He doesn't want to fight Shazam, he wants to fight Superman. So he's like, we want to fight, you know, I want him versus Superman. And also the character is Black Adam, and this is a subject which, you know, I don't know. Well, no, I won't get into what I was about to with it, because I don't know the full backstory of it. But I think he wanted to position Black Adam as like the top flight character, and it was a brand new character that people, well, it wasn't a new character, it's a character people hadn't seen. And it's like, so if I have it so that he's up here, he's equal to Superman, it will establish this character. But then James Gunn's like, well, now I've got to come in and work around what Dwayne is doing. And probably the guys at Warner Brothers and DC were like, we don't like Henry Cavill because he speaks up and says, I don't want to do this. You shouldn't do it like that. I want it to be true to the comics, or, you know, we had something good with Snyder or whatever. And they're like, we're angry at Snyder. We're angry at Ray Fisher. We're angry at Henry Cavill. Ben Affleck quit. We tried to bring him back. We've now got another Batman. We're pissed off at all of them. So, like, who hasn't pissed us off? Oh, Gal Gadot, she's in the same camp as Henry Cavill and Snyder and all that. Because literally the week that the Snyderverse, the Zack Snyder's Justice League came out, they like DC announced we're not making a sequel. It's like you don't even know what the people are going to think of it yet. You just spent 70 million on this. Why are you announcing before the film comes out that you're not doing a sequel? And I think it was because along the way there was all of the well, but this might be why Gal Gadot's on the odds with them as well, because when Ray Fisher came out and said that, look, there was all these issues with Joss Whedon, and then Gal Gadot said, yeah, I had issues with Joss Whedon as well. Like Aquaman stayed shut up completely. So they're like, well, he hasn't muddied the waters. We'll keep him. Like Ezra Miller, they're like, well, we've just spent $250 million making this film that isn't out yet. And the storyline will make sense that we can keep him. So I think anyone that was just on the bad side, they've got rid of them. And James Gunn is just want to come around in a pissing contest and say, well, look, I want to have my guys around me. Because I think he literally put out a tweet like within the last week saying that he wants to work with people who are easy to work with. So that's why he is going to bring in Dave Bautista and Chris Pratt. And it is just going to be his little friendship group, which, you know, and again, you know, you have to have a good environment, not be clashing heads with people. That's obvious. But at the same time, it's meant that they've made a decision, which means there's going to be even more chaos before it settles again. Because like even when you look at like Marvel and the way they suddenly reintroduce that, oh, there's multiple Spider-Men, or there's like Patrick Stewart coming in. It's like they set up the story so it would make sense so that they could do that. Whereas DC, unless this Flash film is absolutely perfect to make this make sense, it's not going to make sense.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he actually did say this. I should have researched it. But there was a tweet the other day that said James Gunn said that The Flash is the greatest superhero film he's seen to date.
Who said that?
I saw that too.
James Gunn.
Wow.
I don't believe he believes that.
No,
I think that's just, but look, just promote it. If you say it, then people will go and watch it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm getting to where I don't trust James Gunn as much as I used to.
I didn't trust him from the moment I saw the Suicide Squad. I was like, God, this is garbage.
Well, yeah, I don't know what the first thing that kind of gave me pause was.
I think he's still sent by Marvel. He is literally turning up like Thanos to wipe out half of the universe so Aquaman and Flash can stay, and then the ones that get snapped away are Superman, Batfleck, and Gal Gadot.
Yeah.
You know.
But all these people that are worshiping at the altar of James Gunn, you know, I loved the first two Guardians of the Galaxies. I love Slither, that horror movie he made. He's made a couple other movies that I didn't really care for that much. But I thought Peacemaker was only okay. And I thought Suicide Squad wasn't really that good.
No, but here's the thing. Literally I gave up on Peacemaker. I never intended to fully give up. I never got round to watching the end. But I've seen the clip where they do have the Justice League turn up at the end.
Yeah.
And Aquaman's there, who he's keeping on board. And literally this is the respect he's got for the characters, where he's like, I heard you sleep with fish. It's like, why would you say that about your own character, where you've now committed that to film, where it's just like you've just shit on your own property. It's like people can make jokes about that on the internet, but now you've committed it into the film so that that's now part of what actually happens.
Yeah, and is it Ezra Miller there too?
I think so.
So it's
and then
the two.
I think they have body doubles of Gal and Superman.
Yeah, it's only the two he's keeping.
Yeah,
that were in Peacemaker.
Well, that's probably why he's fired them. It's like Gal Gadot wouldn't film a cameo, you know, so he's getting rid of them.
Do you think Peacemaker should have said to Ezra Miller's Flash, so do you think you can outrun the law?
Aha.
But I think, do you think he was going like when he said the whole like, so you talk to fish or sleep with fish thing? Do you think he's trying to go for like a Deadpool angle, trying to be meta within his own universe.
But it's just like there's certain things which, like, if you do it, it's like in Star Wars, they had Luke Skywalker drinking like green boob milk from
Stop.
Like,
I am reliving trauma, David.
Okay, I watched for the first time the 2017 Power Rangers reboot a couple of days ago, and I wrote an article on it.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Well, like, because there's like Power Rangers thing coming on later this year. You know, I was like, okay, you know, I'll be interested to see this. And literally, the first introduction to like the main Power Ranger, the red one, it's him and some other guy, and it's like he just milked a bull. And it's like, so the first introduction to his character, he's just jerking off a bull in a field. Literally.
Was it played by Tom Green?
No, it was weird. It was actually the guy from Stranger Things that plays like the brother of like the redhead or whatever. I can't remember.
Yeah. Is that the one that had Elizabeth Banks in it?
I can't remember who Elizabeth Banks is. I think she is in it, but I can't think who she is off the top of my head.
She was in Hunger Games. She's been in.
I think she's in it because I think she was on the cast, but I don't think I'm super familiar with who she is as a concept, to be honest.
Well, she's actually.
Okay, I can give a second example from that same film. That film was so bad, and again, check out extreme.tv, anyone watching, for my article on why it was so bad. There is 30 minutes left of that entire film before they actually become the Power Rangers.
What?
They said that, I'm not kidding you. It's like, oh, they're going to be the Power Rangers. They found this thing, and you think instantly they'd be in the costumes and that. And they're like, oh, they went for the storyline, like in Spider-Man 2, where Spider-Man's like, I've lost my mojo. And he's like, I can't be Spider-Man anymore. Or like Iron Man 3, where it spent a weird amount of time with him just as Tony Stark. It's like, oh, I don't have my suit anymore. The whole film, basically, of Power Rangers is we need to find out how to find the Ranger within. And like one of them for about 30 seconds, like morphed. And they were like, how did you do that? It's like simple. You go, it's morphing time. And they didn't do that. And it's like, it was only the last 30 minutes where they were like, okay, we found it. And they were suddenly in the costumes. And the big thing about Power Rangers, and it wasn't that like some of the character stuff they were doing was completely garbage. It was all right. But it's like, again, you watch these films to see excitement and action. And when it comes to Power Rangers, you want to see some mixed martial arts, some martial arts. And then you want to see them in giant robots having Godzilla fights with aliens. Mm-hmm. And so they've got 30 minutes. And their first fight was underwater. And I was like, well, that's a weird choice. Their first fight in the costumes, they're like going up to the surface from their secret base, and some monsters are falling into the ocean, and they're doing these slow motion kicks, and these things explode. And then after about 10 more minutes of them being surrounded by these generic aliens or monsters, then it's like, okay, here comes a big monster, so we'd better get into our giant robots. So the giant robots only appear for the last 20 minutes. And when they're like, we need to all combine to be one giant robot. So all of like a transformer, they all combine. And then you're like, finally, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. They went for the comedic joke over taking themselves seriously of the giant aliens stood there. And then they've combined and they're like, ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Right, we're going to fight. And then they go to step forward and they just fall over. And they're like, oh, we don't know how to pilot this thing. And it's like, this was your introduction to the character of the giant robot. And the first thing this thing ever did was fall flat on its face. You can go that route for the joke, but going for the joke to sacrifice anyone giving you any credibility or taking you seriously can spoil everything. Case in point, they never made a sequel.
Yeah, but had they done that moment where they were in the Megazord and they fell over, if that was in like maybe like the second act of the movie where they're training, so to speak, you know, they can be trained to fight by all means, you know, they can do that. But then, like you said, they could, we don't know how to pilot the Megazord. Yeah. Okay, so we fall over, so we're training. That would make sense. But then you've got the third act, and then finally they're able to pilot the Megazord and beat the monster.
Yeah. I
And it's
completely
like,
agree.
come on.
But also, right, there are 5 Power Rangers. And if they'd had the idea that, like, Billy, the nerdy one, if it was like, oh, I just don't think I've got the heart of a Ranger, and it's like, I can't do this, and then the rest of them could have some fights, and then it's like, oh, we can't defeat evil Rita Repulsa on our own, you know, and then Billy turns up, and he's now found the heart, and then it's like, now we can combine. But instead, they did the storyline of, I can't find the soul of a Ranger with all 5 of them. You know, it's like you could have done that with one of them. And then another one could have been like, you know, we lost that fight. We got our ass kicked. I'm going to walk away. And then it could be like, oh, the fellowship is broken. And then they all find it to come back together and they all come back. Yeah, we're a team. But instead, all 5 of them were just wimps. And anyway, and so my suspicion with Superman Legacy and Batman Father and Son Edition is that I'm not convinced that they're convincing me that we're going to have, you know, Darkseid and Steppenwolf and even General Zod. Because you think when Man of Steel came out, we'd had Terrence Stamp on screen as General Zod. And so this is like 40 years later. And it's like, oh my God, General Zod. It's not Lex Luthor. The first fight is General Zod. It was exciting. But instead, we're just going to get, well, you know, he's going to have to do some father-son parenting now. Batman, he's like, oh, he's got a 14-year-old. He hasn't learned how to be a parent. And then Supergirl, it's like, well, she spent 14 years watching everyone around her die. It's like, well, why don't you just tell us that they're going to fight someone? Just tell us that they're going to fight for truth, justice, and the American way or something.
So basically, from my understanding, we're getting Bruce Almighty with Superman.
Yeah,
we're getting an episode of Modern Family with Batman, and then we've got that Tom Hanks movie where he's on a beach with Wilson with Supergirl.
Yes, Castaway.
We got Castaway with Supergirl.
Yeah, and then also
I have solved the DCEU.
Viola Davis will reprise her role as Amanda Waller, and it takes place between the first and second season of Peacemaker, which hasn't been made yet, right? And literally, it's like, wait, so why don't they just call this series The Administrator? You know, it's like, we want to say, no, she puts together the Suicide Squad. Give us a Deadshot spin-off. Don't give us the one that just like, well, you know, it's like you get a movie to producers and it's about a couple of crooked producers putting on a musical. But normally you want to see the musical. You don't want to see about, you know, you don't watch it. You watch the football. You don't watch in the locker room where the coach is working out, well, perhaps if we put this guy forward and this guy can do this play or something.
That's a great channel.
Combine both versions of football for who's watching. But it's just like, I don't know. I feel like I've spoken for a long time now, so I'm going to stop.
No, I asked you a question and you just went on from there.
Yeah, I had to stop at the Power Rangers and all sorts. Oh dear. Right, guys, like we're almost out of time. Do you have any further? Has there been anything else? Like, this was a big topic. The future of the DCU. I don't even know if there's what to quote Lois Lane from the end of Superman 2. What's going on in the world? You know, is anything happening in the world?
So a bit of controversy. I'm going to bring a controversial point. I am looking forward to the Hogwarts game, the Hogwarts Legacy game. I watched the I think this is an old video, the E3 trailer, the actual gameplay where they show the graphics, they showed all that. It looks great. I'm amazed by it. But something I watched, an independent creator is creating a War of the Worlds game. Which will be like
game.
Yeah, like it will be a survival game. So you know, remember it's the War of the Worlds one with Tom Cruise. So it's kind of based in that sort of era. So you have to, so you'll have to survive. So you won't have any weapons because, you know, in the movie they don't really use weapons because they're useless. But you just have to survive the longest time possible. And I looked at some of the early gameplay for it, and I'm excited for that as well.
Wait, so the War of the Worlds, the game is that you just have to survive as long as possible?
Yeah. It literally is.
Is there like
you
an
have to
upper
survive.
limit? It's imagine it's like someone's going for the high score, and there's like someone that's just alive for 14 years. You hear that noise?
I did.
That's
shit! I hope
probably.
it's not
Hang on. Go away, you.
I'm fine. Cool.
So what it will be is that there'll be various obstacles for you to fight. Well, I say fight, but survive. You got the tripods that can, if they see you, you're dead. You're caught. There's apparently they've got a probe which is like a snake in the house. So and that's reacts to anything that you do. So if you make a noise, it finds you. You're dead. But they've also they've got the Martians themselves in the game. They didn't see them very clearly because when they showed the footage, the guy was running. But there's no real way to defend yourself, and I believe they might have a cap as to how long to survive till. But by this point, they haven't said. They just showed some gameplay footage of the initial invasion and then everything subsequent afterwards. Ding.
Okay.
There you go.
Ding.
Right, so guys, let's wrap things up on this note. I was just like trying to see what else we've got here.
David was in a trance.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
No,
the truth of the matter is that David's only interested when he's talking.
Here's the thing about that, Marty. Right. That reminds me of a story about me. No. Right. The funny thing is, right, that obviously that isn't true. But it's funny enough because like there is a hint of truth to it. The hint of truth being that like I got distracted by something just because I was still like trying to see if there was any breaking news. But no, I was very into the War of the Worlds. Yeah.
Oh, so David, would you like a beer from the fridge? Oh, the Power Rangers movie, and there's several Die Hard movies.
Hang on, look.
Do you want a beer, David? That's all I wanted to know.
No, look, I want to know what you got to say. Like Marty, tell us things. Why don't you like any Batman film?
Well, we don't have time to talk about that.
Exactly. One week we will just have you. Like, everyone else will go on mute, and we'll just hear you say a review of every Batman role and why they've got it wrong.
Okay, I can do that.
No, literally, you should.
Please do that. I really want to hear this.
I don't know if we're signing off. I don't. My wife and I are watching several things. We're watching The Last of Us, or as I like to call it, The Walking Dead Shrooms. It's okay. But I'm trying to think if there's anything that we're watching that I'm just like super, like I am enjoying the show Evil, but I understand that it's probably not for everybody. But beyond that, there's not really anything that we're watching that we're just like, oh, I can't wait to get in front of the TV and just watch this, you know?
Yeah. Well, like, I'm not on any of the shows, so I'm really not interested in that.
Yeah, like if there was a show of just you talking, I would be mesmerized.
Could you imagine, Marty, if there was a channel where David could hear David talk for like half an hour?
I am gonna get that clip. It was so good, Marty. Just like, David, you're not interested in anything unless you. That is so funny. It was so good. Here's the thing about it, though, right? Here's the thing about it. It was so funny, not because it was genuinely true, but because I genuinely I drifted off. I hadn't been listening.
I'm hurt. I was pouring.
I didn't mean to be rude. I apologize. I didn't mean to be rude.
Okay.
I was just trying to see if there was any breaking news, and so I was caught. I wasn't fully committed.
Dave's like, so this. I'm excited about this War of the Worlds game, and I, me, I don't know anything about games, so I'm not chiming in. And it's just afterward, it's just like crickets.
Well, look, I was interested in like Hogwarts. I know about Harry Potter. Like, I saw like Tom Cruise in War of the Worlds. I just, you know.
Oh, in the gaming front, have I got your attention, David? Look at the focus.
Okay.
Here we go. So Jedi Survivor got pushed back.
Ugh.
My Star Wars, is ruined. I have to wait till April 5th.
Wait, so what was that? Is that PC, console? What is it?
PC and console.
Wow.
So apparently, there was an announcement made. I think it was today. I saw it this morning that they want to give gamers the best experience for Jedi Survivor, so they're having to push it back so they can work on it just a little bit more.
Okay. Well, fair play. Look, I think there's a famous quote from me. No, from like the guy who made Mario. It's like, a good game is a good game, but like a delayed game can then be bad forever. So, get them right. Get them right.
Get them right.
Yes.
On that note, let's wrap things up. Because like literally, we are about to have like Extremed, I assume. I don't know, to be honest. Right, so I don't even know who's doing it. But anyway, my name is Dave Stansky. You can find me on the internet. I don't want to plug anything. I don't want to push anything, guys. So I'll just be quiet. Dave, where can the people find you? Like our co-geeks of the week, Dave and Marty, the very important contributors to this.
And Tim.
Dave. And Tim. Oh yeah, I forgot him. Right, Dave, where can the people find you?
You could find me here on Geek Battle and on Extreme Improv on the next show and on Thursdays. You can keep an eye on YouTube, which is also Dave MC. I will be uploading game footage of my Star Wars The Old Republic Let's Plays. And my recommendation, go check out the Spider-Man comic book Spider Shadow, written by Chip Zdarsky. I hope I said that right. Where Spider-Man keeps the Venom symbiote.
Ooh. Keeps it how?
He keeps the Venom symbiote.
What, on him?
On him.
Well, doesn't that just... Oh, no, okay, fair enough.
Go check it out. It's a really good book. It's a really good comic book. It's really well written. Go check it out. It's awesome.
Okay, here's a question, and I know we don't have time to answer this. How come that just didn't make him Venom?
Read the book and find out.
Okay. Right. Marty, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at What Would Jesus Glue, or you can find me here on Extreme. And I can't remember the title of it, but there's also a Spider-Man series. It's actually collected in a trade paperback if you want to watch or read it, but I can't remember what it's called. But it's drawn by one of my favorite artists, Brendan McCarthy, and it's a Spider-Man Doctor Strange team up, and it's really psychedelic and it's really weird and it's really good. I enjoy it. I'll find the title and give it to y'all next time.
Okay, awesome. Right, so make sure you smash those subscribe buttons, and with that, boom, we're off the air once, but because we're still live on the Geek Battle channel, now what do you really want to say, guys?
Oh, that's what I want to say.
And we're off the air.